was enough. I'd smile all the time. Beyond the best of me, there's more than meets the eye.
All right. Hello, everyone. I was going to record with a fellow today, but it seems we got our dates mixed up. So instead, I'll record a phantom work one or a phantom play one, floating phantom work. How do you know when you're getting where you need to go, or you're getting where you want to go? And how do you know, how can you tell when you're getting in your way? Very easy to confuse ourselves. I was reading a book on alchemical masters over the last several thousand years. If it was several thousand years ago, it's hard to know about the dates. But they had something called sophisticated deceit, which I found very, very interesting. If you put those two words together, sophisticated is clever, something of a high level, something that takes some intelligence to get towards. And of course, we all know what deceit is to fool yourself, let's say, or to fool someone else. So sophisticated deceit, it's something I've certainly been guilty of and inside myself, in that I've been trapped by my own so-called cleverness into loops that have brought me back around to the same cage while thinking I was getting somewhere else. And I think thinking is the key to this one. You get trapped in your ego, your echo, the chamber in your head. It gives you the yes, no, the up, down, the good and bad. And it is easy for it to trick you, as it is you, or somewhat you, or at least knows you as well as you know yourself, into believing, and the lie and believe there, that you're getting somewhere, that you're changing, that life is getting better, as people like to say, even when it's not, or you're getting to where you want to go, even when you're not there, or your job or your relationship or your living, environment conditions and such are getting better, when mostly they're stagnating. And often enough, there's a lot of excuses involved in sophisticated deceit. You tell yourself you're taking 3 steps forward when really, you look down, perhaps you just changed your shoes. Or you tell yourself, you're getting richer, but it's not reflected in your bank account. So you're cash poor and asset rich, or asset, ass and asset rich, and you're really not. So the phantom work, what allows you to see when you're getting somewhere, when you're not getting somewhere? What gives you the ability to know when you're fallen into the trap of sophisticated deceit? I would say, because I've had that experience quite a bit, even over the last month. If you can look back in our room here, it's not my usual place. I'm still on the road. I went on a almost 2-month journey, from Japan through the States. I'm back in Canada now, and I got to see plenty of mirrors. We did our Practical Evolution for Life event, which went off very well. And from that and some of the people I visited throughout the States, I got to see myself, both the good and the bad, the happy and the ugly, the successful, the non-successful, the abundant, for reasons of believing in abundance, and the lack of abundance for the same reasons, but leaving in a lack of non-abundance. And the funny thing is that everyone felt, including me at the time, that, they're doing a good job. They know where they're going. They know what they would like. They're happy with their life. They're happy with what's going on. But for some of them, including myself, you point to reasons outside of yourself why it's not working yet. Could be the people in your life, could be the circumstances due to economic conditions or political conditions or weather conditions or relationship conditions or what have you. But if you're pointing outside and you're not looking inside for a change that you require, I would say it's more than likely, or I can talk for myself, that you've been a victim, self-victim, if you like, of sophisticated deceit. I've spent years doing work and trying to get somewhere and accomplishing not as much as I would have liked. I mean, my life was fine and I was healthy and such, but I really wanted to get somewhere I wasn't getting. And because I kept giving myself reasons and excuses and not seeing the forest for the trees, as they say, I never really got anywhere. I tried different ways to change this, that, or the other thing. And I tried different perspectives of an outside view, in that I would change the windows in my room, right? Or I would change the people I was working with, or I would change, the banks that I was doing banking with, those sorts of things. And of course, nothing ever changed, because in order for you to do proper phantom work, floating phantom work, as I'll call this one, really, you need to look at yourself, or so I found. You need to understand how you're getting in your own way. Getting back to that same alchemical book, which is really interesting, they had mentioned that the trick of the alchemical practitioners of the past was not to change lead to gold, as in the base metal to a rich metal, but the alchemical work was an inside to change your lead to gold, to change your, lead, your heavy light into a more golden light, right? A higher light, a higher vibration, and not by just thinking good thoughts, because that doesn't work, and not by affirmations, because that doesn't work. Maybe changing your diet a little bit, or getting to a place with less pollution, or, having less stress. All of those things can help. But mostly what they mentioned was the inner alchemical work of transforming yourself, of seeing how you are a victim, self-victim of, sophisticated deceit. You've been tricking yourself. What you need to change so your outside world changes. I mean, my world has gotten much, much better over the last little bit, and simply because I've decided to be honest. And that's a hard one. Like not just honest with the outside world. A lot of people say, well, what I like, I don't like what I don't like, and I'm happy to tell the whole world about it, which is fine. It's good to be honest about that too. But the harder part, and the more powerful one, and the one that will actually change, is looking at yourself and being honest. Is this working for you? Yes, no, not kind of, but this is the reason it is. Or is this bad? Kind of, but this is the reason it's not too bad. We have all had those excuses, reasons, conditions fly out of our mouths, or our asses, I will say. At one point or another, we've been asked, are you healthy? Well, I could lose a few pounds, but generally, is this habit bad for you? Well, I'm cutting down from where I used to be, or is this bad for you? Yes, this one thing's bad for me, but I'm doing 9 good things. So kind of balances out. Instead of just going, is this bad for you? Yes. Do you need to lose weight? Yes. Is your job working? No. Right? Is this relationship making you happy? No. Should you be living in this part of the world? Should you be, doing this job? Should you be spending your time in this bar? Should you be, creating whatever it is that you're creating that you're not happy with? And the honest answer is also the most powerful answer. It's the hardest and the most powerful. So these phantoms, where do they come from? Where do they play? Like ego, echo, I would say, I guess there's a little poem there, that they bounce around in your head. Really, if you're thinking that it's good or bad or good, and you're weighing and you're judging, I mean, there's nothing wrong with discernment. Discernment is great. Something's good for you, something's bad for you. A relationship is good for you, a person, a friend, a job, a planned action or inaction, to have some discernment, to look at it, to decide, to discern, to distill, to bring it down to its base is even essential in our life. That's why we have our conscious and our senses and all of that. But are we using all our senses? I would say no. Right? If you're not healthy in your body, probably some of your senses are blocked, right? If you're not well rested or well fed or well breathed, meaning you're breathing well with clean air, probably your senses in one way or another are somewhat cloudy or fuzzy or not so clear. So you can guarantee yourself, if your senses aren't working at 100%, and for most of us, it's rarely the case, you're missing something, quite literally by definition. Your senses are blocked. Your thinking is cloudy. If your eyes aren't clear, you're using glasses, right? If your hearing isn't clear, if your tummy is upset, if your heart isn't working well, if you're, if you've got a cold in your nose and you can't breathe deeply, any of these things, if you're honest with yourself, are indications of something unbalanced or diseased or not at ease inside your body or inside your spiritual energy, if you'd like, inside your consciousness, inside your life. And it's pretty much guaranteed that they are altering or warping your perspective or your perceptions. Right? Why do people have a drink? Why do people smoke whatever they smoke? Why do people need time to relax or to distract themselves with whatever they distract themselves with? Why do people eat too much or too little? All of those things are probably to cover up some sort of a pain, a distraction from something you don't like. Whether it's a gut feeling of not liking or a visceral feeling or a body feeling, if you're covering something up, you're not being honest with, at the very least, what your body wants or what your heart wants or what your spirit wants. So this is where the phantoms come in. And if you have those, but it's okay, or maybe it will be, or in 2 weeks it's going to be, or it's not so bad. But they have it worse. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Or I'll change it one day, next month it's going to be much better than this month. You're not, or I wasn't being honest. Because to be honest, you have to go into the now. You have to see into the now. You have to see into your now, your new now. If you see by our my title here, the chapter or the new now YouTube, what I have channel, the new now. It takes a lot of courage to be brutally honest with yourself about yourself. Most people aren't. I would say the bottom line with that is because they don't really want to change. If you're saying something's horrible, you have to change it. If you're saying a habit is bad and you're being honest with yourself, you'll need to alter it or at least slow down. If you are doing something that you really wish would work, like let's say a job or some sort of a task or some sort of a, whether it's a hobby or construction or whatever, and it's not working, even if you put 12 years into it or 12 days or 12 months and you're asked how it's going, it's good to be honest. This is going shitty. This is going great. I need more help. I need less help. I need to stop and do something else. Because as you're honest, you will get honest answers. Right? And all it takes is a little bit of, or even a lot of that clarity, or even some more clarity to get a clear response. And if you're stuck in your head thinking too much, for me, that just confuses me. That just, alters what's possible if you go into your nose. How many of you have walked into a restaurant or walked into a room or walked up to someone and something smelled off? Something smelled like you're not attracted, but you ignored it. How many of us have had a feeling of dread or disease or not wanting to be with someone, but stood there anyways, to be polite, to make money, to not offend them? I've done all of these things, and I'm pretty much sure everyone's done it at one point or another. I mean, what are manners even? What are rules? I would say they're slave chains to put us in positions that our guts are telling us we don't really like, right? You'll talk to someone too long and then you'll feel drained afterwards, right? You'll walk into a restaurant and it'll smell bad, but you sit down anyways because you're late for lunch, and then you'll have a stomach ache afterwards. You'll walk up to a pretty girl or a handsome man, even though maybe you're not really attracted in a gut level, but your head is telling you whatever it is. They have money, they're attractive for whatever reason you're finding them attractive. And probably a lot of us have walked into traps from those very lies we've told ourselves. Lies lay traps, no doubt about it. If you're not honest with yourself, well, you'll get a dishonest response, right? If you're not honest with what your body's saying, you'll get a body pain. If you're not honest with what your heart is saying, you'll get a heart pain. If you're not honest with your destiny, like maybe you're supposed to do something or not, you'll get a stop sign, or a trap will be laid in front of you, or you'll have an accident, or your body will, I know of a few people over the last little while that have had some dire prognoses, I guess that in their bodies, from whether they're mental prognoses or physical ones, where something said, well, you got to stop that, or you're going to be sad forever, you're going to be miserable forever, you're going to die soon, all of those, those sorts of things, you're going to be sick forever, simply because they weren't honest with themselves. I think they have the phantom foolery, if you like, and that something's fooling them. So why and how is that happening? And why and how can you get over that? Interesting. Honesty is good. Using the mirror. If you're hanging out with people that are showing you something that you really don't like, that's really, really bothering you, that's niggling you down to your toes, maybe there's something for you to see there. Maybe there's something for you to heal there. Maybe there's something for you to be honest about. Maybe they're showing you a part of yourself that you need to change. I've had that mirror over the last, even couple of weeks, and it's really helped me quite a bit. It really is. It really has. Pardon me. So, because of that, as I've traveled through the world, I'm going to have a little plug here. I've started working with a company called Foolery. I'll leave the link below. They have full flower essences that I found can give you a map of what you need to change for yourself. I've tried some. My wife has tried some. I've worked with a few other people that have tried them, and I've seen some things open up, and I've seen some pathways open up, and I've seen some things I've needed to heal that I thought I had, but I'd buried. We've all had a longer life than today. Maybe you've been alive for 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years. So probably there's some memories, there's some experiences, good and bad, you've forgotten about or you've buried. And if you bring those back, and I found that these flower essences help with that, it can give you the map to your own destiny. I've said before, and I've put it on a lot of my videos, your happy destiny is unavoidable. And I would say it is, but only if you make that so. Like if you get a map to a treasure, if you don't follow it, it's just a map to a treasure. It's not going to get you the treasure. You can't sit down and go, this is a beautiful map. My gold is over here. So I can, go out and, have a donut and a coffee. Now I don't got to go look for it. It's not going to work that way. Your life can give you your map to see what you need to get to in many, many ways. And I think if you're stuck, whether it's with a heart problem or a spiritual problem or a sadness problem or an anger problem, or you feel you have entity invasive problems. I've been looking at a flower called Madam Fate. Very interesting. I'll leave the link below. There's been some, hold on, let me see if I can share. Did I bring it up here? Did I leave it? Is it here? Can I show it? Let me see. Is that where it is? No, it's not where it is. I get to show you love instead. But really what it comes down to is there are ways that you can help yourself. There are ways that you can heal yourself. Here it is. There are ways that you can show yourself how you need to be if you give yourself the chance. So I'm going to try and bring it up again. Where are we? Here it is. All right. I want to show everyone. So here is a picture of the flower, Madam Fate. I'll leave a link below. There's a discount in you now. You get 11% off any of the flowers, any of the formulations on this particular website. And it helps to remove negative influence or malevolent entities, right? And it instills you with self-confidence. That's what this flower has done. I did some work with them, and I found them to be very effective. So a little plug, I'll keep moving. I don't want to sit here plugging things on this full phantom floating foolery that we all deal with at times. And the reason I showed that flower, and maybe it's a practitioner, maybe it's a dance, maybe it's an exercise, maybe it's a power move. It's not necessarily something in a bottle that can help you, but if you're attracted to something, maybe it can give you a bit of an eye-opening boost towards helping yourself beyond what's going on in your head, which is why I mention it. The echo, the ego, I feel it's where most of us get trapped. I feel when we're younger or when we get spiritually advanced or energetically advanced, you can get out of that. You can stop thinking. You can use your guts. You can use your heart. You can use your intuition. You can use more than those 5 senses they say we have, which can allow you to move in ways that you never thought possible, but something inside you always knew was where you needed to go, towards your destiny. I fully believe we all come here with something bent or broken to fix. Maybe there's a distortion in our energy from, people say, past lives. I'm not sure how or why or what we choose or what our destiny is once we get here, but I feel we all have one. I feel we all choose to fix or make something better. At the very least, as they say, leave a place better than when you got here. That's always a nice thing to do. So if you've come to this world to leave it better than where you found it, whether it's with your children or your family or the world at large, an invention, a book, a poetry, a song, a poem, a song, whatever, and you're not there yet and you feel it's missing, maybe the flowers can help you. Maybe one of the videos I've done can help you. Maybe there's, we have our Practical Evolution for Life. We're going to do another event in spring. We have our Freedom's Calling You courses. Maybe there's something that won't cost you money that will help you. There's tons of good information out there. Some that cost money, some that don't. It doesn't really matter. You really want to change yourself, ask the world for some help, and I think it will give you the reflection you're asking for. So if that's what you're putting out, that's what you'll get back. So don't fool yourself. Full phantom foolery, floating. I'm not sure what I'll call this one, but something like that. It sounds good. It'll help you get out of your matrix, which is your personal prison. If you stop lying, be honest, see where you need to go, take the hard hits, because I read somewhere in a philosophical book, the easy path is the hard path and the hard path is the easy path. And I'm finding that to be true. So don't avoid the challenges. They're just going to keep coming back anyways. Face them when you're younger or stronger and you're ready to take it on the chin, instead of when you're old and you see them and there's nothing you can do, or mostly because you don't have enough energy to do anything about it. And for me, I found I'm happier, healthier, more successful in all the ways you can imagine, simply by being honest with myself. All right. Well, I'm Lorenzo. Thank you so much for joining me in my new now. This will be phantom work. I'll put it up very soon on the channel. And if you have any questions or suggestions for more, don't be shy. All intelligent participations are welcome. Bye, bye, bye.
If self was enough, I'd smile all the time. Beyond the best of me, there's more than meets the eye.